That's big business. Hit 10, but that's big pimpin'. My potential, that's infinite. Pin game insane. Make hits like King Griffin, a 10th inning.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to episode 60, the big 6-0. I say it all the time. I don't know how we got here. I don't know if we knew we were going to get here or thought we'd get here, but we got here. As always, I'm Sean, and he is Dan.
And
And
this sign says Aaron Judge's shirt. What it actually says, let's see if I can do the unblur the background here, Sean, just so we can see it. The most wonderful time of the year, Sean. It really is. We're finally in December. If I'm not mistaken, this is our first December episode, is it not? And that
yeah,
is,
yeah,
I'll tell you, Sean, I went to my friend's house the other night. I was driving through. I'm in a complex in a college town kind of situation, so you don't see a lot of residencies. I'm driving down a residency. I saw, I gotta say, at least 50% of the homes had the Christmas lights going, and you know how I feel about the Christmas lights. I mean, there's
yeah.
something about this time, there's something in the air, Sean. There's something in the air, buddy. And I'm excited for it. It's the most wonderful time of the year. And for baseball as well. We got a bunch of free agent signings, moves, winter meetings are happening this weekend, right? So
Yeah,
this is a good
yeah,
time for baseball.
yeah. No, it is the most wonderful time of the year. Another reason for that being the case is me and Dan will be together very soon,
That is
and
correct.
everything is right in the world when we are together,
Mm,
for both podcasts as
mm,
well as the cherubs. Um,
that's right.
so that'll be great. That'll be great. And the Specky is in December, which also makes it the most wonderful time of year.
Becky is in
Um,
full season right now, Sean. We are having meeting after meeting after meeting. The Specky is strong,
the
Sean.
winter meetings of the Specky.
That's right. It's happening. It's
Now,
happening.
hopefully, we can get some Specky content on the pod, maybe some little video clips or pictures, just to
Mm,
give the fans a taste. Maybe spread the Specky around. Maybe we'll get different sects of the Specky in different parts of the country.
that Sean, you know what an awesome idea. I will right now. I'll put in a video here, a short 10-second to 15-second clip, as well as a photo about what I think most represents the Specky. Hope you enjoy that. I know there's been some talks in the past about certain things, but I want to put something to rest tonight. My father will be at the spectacle. Thanks for watching, guys. So that's a little taste of the Specky. If you guys are interested in the Specky, I'll have our website linked down below. I'll have my Twitter page linked down below. You shoot me a DM on Twitter, we'll get you involved in the Specky.
Yeah, taste of the Specky, no pun intended.
No pun intended, Sean. None. Absolutely none.
Oh, good. But yeah, back to baseball. We have a first big domino fell the other day in the baseball world, pre-winter meeting domino. Jacob DeGrom has signed with the Texas Rangers. Can't say I am necessarily surprised by it, but I was still shocked when I saw that news come across. If that makes any sense, frankly, I didn't think he was going to leave the Mets. But after seeing the contract, which is 5 years and
85, I believe.
85. Excuse me, I get the numbers mixed up all the time. With the chance to be, I think, 220 if the 60-year team option is picked up. I saw that. I was quite happy the Mets didn't come anywhere near that money and that length in the contract.
Yep.
Don't get me wrong, best pitcher on the planet when healthy. That is an
Yep.
important part. All caps when healthy. He's started, I think, 22 starts in the past 3.5 years, or excuse me, 3 years. Made 11 starts last year and didn't really look total. I mean, he still had a 3.3 ERA, but didn't look totally like the Degrom we know. Small sample size coming back from UCL injury. But that's a large commitment made by the Texas Rangers. Ultimately, he didn't want to be with the Mets. Didn't even give him a chance to respond, which is where I have the biggest issue. Um, Call me old fashioned, but a team that had drafted you, developed you throughout the minors, and was very patient with you. Injuries, the past couple of years didn't force you back, let you, as far as we could tell from the outside looking in. Again, this is from the outside. Um, let him take his time, and he just goes ahead and runs to another team. And the Mets found out basically minutes before the whole world found out that he was signing with the Rangers. Um, that leaves a bad taste in my mouth, and it kind of puts a bit of a cloud over the DeGrom era with the Mets. And I will say it would have been really cool to see him finish his career as a Met and be a career-long Met. Um, but that won't happen. Money talks, unfortunately. It's a business, and he took the most amount of money he could get.
Yeah, I mean, I for one am thrilled to see because I think the narrative in New York, well, we have the best pitcher, possibly of all time as far as like in a pocket in a window, and that he's a Met, he's a gamer. It's nice to see that it did end up ending on bad terms for the New York Mets. Um, I am happy to see that for you guys because I wouldn't want you guys to have anything. It seemed like you guys had something for a second, and it was concerning. So congratulations on that one. As far as DeGrom, yeah, I get it. I think like he should have at least listened to the offer, but I think in a situation like that, where like it's a business, but we also have to understand these people are people, and maybe he just didn't want to pitch in New York. Like maybe it didn't matter the money, so it didn't really matter, the response they were going to give him. Although he should have heard it, just out of respect. It's like he might have made the decision like, I don't like the way the organization is going. Where I don't agree with that because I think Steve Cohen has done a great job, um, and the Rangers are doing a very similar thing with bringing a bunch of big talent in. Um, he might have wanted to change. Isn't he from Texas? Is he?
He's from Florida, but he
Okay.
wasn't a huge fan of New York. Um,
Yeah.
yeah,
And that's understandable. I mean, New York is, it's a pretty binary thing. Like either you like it there, you can handle it, or you don't. And he never showed signs of cracking, like professionalism, like he couldn't handle it. Um,
yeah.
but he might just have not wanted to be in the spotlight like that. And I get that, you know. But like you said, it would have been nice to at least say something to the fans or say something to the team.
Another interesting thing after he signed away, there, at least on Twitter, and this is by like verified people. I know a blue check now doesn't mean as much on Twitter, but like baseball writers that are as far as reporting pretty accurate. Kind of, we're saying some stuff to the nature of Degrom. Um, he's a country boy at heart, but kind of throw real life into this. COVID didn't get vaccinated, didn't like the mandates in the northern states such as New York. I think
Right.
that left a bad taste in his mouth, which is something like you said, they're people, which you don't necessarily think about. That
Yeah.
was after he had already signed the contract, so he was there for the duration of the contract, um, and also I think just wanted to change the scenery. And I also, from what I gathered, no one said this outright. I think that DeGrom can also be a bit aloof in a sense. He's very much uh, his own person, not necessarily with the team. I don't know if you get what I'm saying, but this kind of all came out from baseball writers, which I thought was interesting because you didn't really hear about this. I don't think they're trying to smear his name because they have no reason. They don't. They're not Mets fans. They're just
Yeah.
baseball writers in general. Um, but it's kind of an interesting thing because you didn't really hear much about it. You always heard about how he's quiet and was a gamer. Uh, but yeah, I mean it's just kind of an interesting little thing. Thought was more the human side of things that you don't necessarily always see.
Yeah. Well, I mean, first off, let's take a time out and congratulate Sean on the use of aloof. I mean, what a fucking congratulations. After what happened last week, I forget what you said to somebody last week. You told them that they were. What'd you say to? What'd you say to them?
I don't even remember.
I think you called somebody an export, Sean. I don't know. I don't know what happened last
Yes, I did. Yeah, yeah. Jose or Carlos Abreu.
week. Yeah. Um. Anyway, off track. Defector or defectee. You called him
No,
defected. You called
I
him
said
defected.
defect.
You thought he was
Yeah.
broken. Um. But yeah, I mean, when someone says, quiet and a gamer, to me that just means kind of introverted in baseball terms, because that's what you do on a field. Like they're quiet and they go about their business. He might just not be. He doesn't really seem, at least from an outside perspective, he has a huge personality. Like it doesn't ever seem like he's done anything like personality wise, like a Shohei or those kind
Yeah.
of other guys. he's just quiet. He goes about his business, which is fine. And I think that could also come across in a team setting as like cold or not, not wanting to
Yeah,
be a part of it. But like you said, I mean, they're there about the vaccine. They pitch once a week, once every 5 days. They are living in that city 7 of those 7 days. So their living environment does matter to a large extent,
yeah,
almost more so than the team they're pitching for to a degree. Depending on the player, their willingness to win versus get money and be happy.
yeah. Um, Now I kind of want to look at this from the Texas Rangers and then the Mets angle. I know we're spending a lot of time on this, and we don't have to talk too much longer about it. Just because I find it fascinating that um, the reaction across baseball.
Mm,
Uh, a lot of people, I was surprised. I mean, there's people making fun of the Mets like yourself, childish people. But no, I'm messing with you. That the Mets, LOL Mets, that classic
yeah,
thing. But also, a lot of people were saying the Mets were smart and
yeah,
they'll be better off because of this. And a lot of people are saying the Rangers are absolute idiots for this.
yeah,
And also, there's people saying the Rangers, DeGrom doesn't care about winning; he just cares about money. Yeah, they gave him a lot of money, but the Rangers they're in a bloodbath of a division, but they're going to make a wild card. They have two studs in Semien and Seager. They have a quality manager in Bruce Bochy. They have a solid rotation, pitching rotation. They have some young pieces in a really good farm system. So the notion that he doesn't care about winning and the Rangers aren't going to do well, I don't buy that at all. I think they could make some noise in the wild card and in the playoffs. And I think the Rangers are set up to do that, and for the long term too, with their farm system being as stacked as it is.
yeah. I think to go off what you're saying, I don't know where I want to go first. First, I'll answer what you said. I saw what you're saying, and I think most of what I saw was that the Rangers are made a bad move. That's a
Yeah,
lot of the narrative that I've seen is, wow, what are you doing? Look at those years, look at the numbers, and I get it. I mean, like you alluded to, 22 starts in what is it, 3 years or 2 years?
yeah,
Um, one of them's a COVID year, so you got to take that with a
yeah,
grain of salt. But I mean, still not great. Still not great. And last year he had a 3-3 short sample size, and one bad outing could have skewed it for sure. But we're used to seeing Degrom in the low twos pretty much is what's expected of him, and kind of what's expected of you when you're getting paid that much money. He's on the wrong side of 30, right? He's gonna be 31, is he?
I think 34.
Oh, right. I'm sorry. I'm just thinking about Rodon for a second. Yeah, he's gonna be 34. So this is till he's 39. So this is
Yeah,
at the back half of his career. Um, the only positive I see from the Rangers side, and I was thinking about this, like he didn't come up till he's what, 26, right? 27,
yeah,
and he didn't really get to his peak, like as far as his velocity is increased until he's 33, 34. So
yeah,
I don't think he made his full mechanical changes until later in life and like really killed his arm. Plus he played shortstop growing up. So I
yeah.
think his arm um is in a better place than a lot of arms would be at this age.
Yes, but he has had an issue. Um, Even before the arm was the issue, he had elbow issues and then shoulder, and then it became the UCL. So it's kind of been a build up to this point. Uh, and he refused surgery.
Yeah,
He did not want to get surgery. So it is risky. Obviously,
100%.
high risk, high reward. Let's say it plays out beautifully, and he's like Verlander or Scherzer and just continues to pitch well into the 30s, or it could go terribly, and he could pitch 10 starts over the next 3 years. You don't know what you're gonna get. Um, so
Yeah, for this much guaranteed money, there's a shot he could win two Cy Youngs in this contract. I don't think there's any shot he has a great contract all the way through, but I don't think anyone assumes that. You're paying an extra year or two because you want the first three. But there's also a shot that he doesn't have another full season, which is wild that you just gave him 37 mil over 5 years to do that
yeah,
as a potential. Like I would say that's a 10-15% outcome. Like that's not like a small outcome
yeah,
that he doesn't have another full season, and 10 to 15 might even be somewhat low. I think that's just as
yeah.
likely that he wins two more Cy Youngs.
And as I was saying before, their farm system's really loaded. I guess devil's advocate is what I was just saying. that makes their window to win like now. Like
Yeah.
DeGrom, they didn't sign him just to get into the wild card, maybe play around a little bit. And they paid that money to win now, which I guess probably is foreshadowing they're going to make some moves this offseason to complement the moves last year and this year. Um, but yeah, it's win now. I would be surprised if they make trades to use those prospects as way to bring in talent, major league level talent. It'll be an interesting offseason for them for sure.
Yeah, I think the Rangers are sneaky, man. I like the Rangers. They're going to be my sneaky team this year. Talk about defensive
Yeah.
catcher Jonah Heim, first baseman, Silver Slugger. We talked about Nathaniel Lowe. I didn't even have a qualm about it. That's how you know they're good. Simeon
Yeah.
and Seager at short and second. They're going to have Josh Young come up. Josh Young finally come up this year. Had that injury, big prospect. That's a filthy infield. All of a sudden they get Nimmo. Maybe put Nimmo in center, Shawnee. That outfield starts looking a little bit better. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
If
Martin
they get
Perez
Brandon
signed
Nimmo,
back.
I may just cry on the pod for like a whole pod, just me crying.
That's fair. But Martin Perez signed back the QO. We said he was the one guy I didn't think should have taken the QO at his age.
Yeah.
DeGrom, I mean, he had a great year paired with DeGrom. And who's their ace last year other than Perez? Who else did they have on that staff that was decent? They had one other guy.
Um, I can't think of it.
I can't
Of
think of him.
him.
But all of a sudden they signed Rodon as well. Possibly, man. You're looking at a team.
I mean, the options are endless. They're not doing these moves just to, like I said, to get in the playoffs. They are gonna, San Diego Padres style potentially.
Yeah. No, that it seems like that's what they're trying to do. But I don't know. Maybe I'm just don't like the Padres and I like the Rangers. Do have some bias there, but I don't know. It feels like they're doing it in a more wholesome way. That's just my take, though. I
Well,
like
yeah,
the
because they have the talent also from the minors to supplement that. The
right,
Padres pretty much just bought the entire team. Um,
exactly.
the flip side of that, the Mets. I think the Mets are just as good now as they were with DeGrom. DeGrom only started 11 starts last year, and I think he only won 3 or 4 games. So I don't think it necessarily hurts them that much. And they have more money to play with, and apparently they're hot and heavy for Justin Verlander. So he'll probably sign a very similar deal to Max Scherzer, probably more money than Max Scherzer. So the rotation is going to be headlined by a 37-year-old, I think Scherzer is, and then a 39-year-old in Verlander. And they still have to sign other pitchers after that. But frankly, I'm really not that upset that DeGrom left. Some fans were, but I really am not. Good for him. Good for him. But I'm actually very excited about the Mets right now.
Yeah, I mean, I don't disagree. I think the Mets will be okay. I think they definitely need to add a frontline starter if
Yeah,
they want to compete. And it's a filthy division. We just saw the Phillies go to the World Series. They're still going to be there. Possibly getting Trey Turner. That'll definitely hurt them. But then you have the Braves coming in as well. So that's a tough division. And the NL is tough in general. Dodgers and Padres are still teams, you know.
yeah.
It's gonna be
Apparently, the
tough.
Braves were close to signing DeGrom. That's what Buster Olney reported. I didn't really read into it what he said, but I guess he was saying that there was close. So I don't know. I guess at least we avoided that. He's in the AL. But let's actually, you know what? I'm gonna let you talk about what you had sent me in a text message very early this morning about on Twitter about how DeGrom
Yeah.
and his amount of starts in the past few years compared to another frontline future Hall of Fame pitcher.
Clayton Kershaw. Yeah. Um, Stop sleeping on the boy. Is there anything exactly you want me to dive into about that?
Just how he's covered, how like DeGrom is almost kind of forgiven
Yep.
for his injuries, and Kershaw is under an extreme microscope for whatever reason.
And the whatever reason is something I've never understood. I feel like I've said it a couple times in this podcast. I just wanted to look here. 44 starts for Kershaw the last 2 years, 26 for DeGrom. Yeah, there's just something. There was a decision made in the industry, seemingly like at this point, almost 4 or 5 years ago, that Kershaw was washed, his prime was over, that he was no longer elite, He even to the point of like historical stuff where he gets left off pitcher of the decade. People talk about Max and DeGrom, and which is and there's no I have nothing against the other pitchers. It's just that it seems like he did something wrong, but like he's also like such a good guy. I don't know, and he's never had a really bad season. He's just went from 33 starts to about 25, and it's been the end of the world for everyone. Sean, I don't get it. I really don't get it. The money says it. He's getting 17. We're talking about DeGrom getting 37. I mean, we talked about who's getting paid more than Clayton Kershaw. Everyone and your mother. Um, for a 2.28, I will repeat. I think that was the same as Sandy. Did Kershaw have the same ERA as Sandy Alcantara this year? I don't know, man. It was very close.
Sure.
He might have had the same exact ERA. I will fact check you guys because on this pod,
I can look it up.
let me know if it was 2.28 because I feel like it was right around there, but I might be thinking of Sandy. I just don't know. I don't know why people don't like him. All the numbers say he's still good. He still performs very well. He gives you 25 good starts. I mean, Verlander was just out with Tommy John. DeGrom's been out all the time. Scherzer's had injury, issues the last couple of years, but it seems like everyone else gets a pass. And I couldn't even tell you.
2.28, you were right. Also,
Same
for those of you who want to laugh out there and have ever watched the Chappelle Show, when I typed in Clayton, the first name that popped up was Clayton Bigsby.
Bigsby? Yeah.
Yeah. Kanye.
Like
Yeah.
How do you feel about Sean? I'm biased. I'm biased.
I was biased. Like I think last episode you were talking about DeGrom to the start, and I was like, yeah, whatever. I guess now I'm no longer biased because he's not on my team. But now looking at it from a neutral, I guess, viewpoint, I'm trying to think of big words to use like aloof, but they're just not coming to me. No one's defected. Anyway, I think that what's defected is the media's view of Clayton Kershaw. There we go.
Oh man, we're turning people, folks. Oh man.
Now it is he doesn't get talked about
at all. Like he doesn't make any
reason. I think
top 10 ever. He's not made a pitcher
I
top
think
10
it's like,
in years.
I think people get tired of talking about the same people. Same Mike Trout's suffering from the same thing.
Yeah.
So I think that doesn't help, and the fact that the Dodgers are really not well liked because they are consistently one of the best teams in the National League and baseball. They get to the World Series a lot or deep in the postseason. I think people are jealous of the team, and I think they just kind of like, all right, I'm tired of hearing about Clayton Kershaw.
And its velocity
never really gotten that far.
I'm sorry, I don't mean to cut you off, but I was just gonna say it's how the team treats him. The team doesn't treat him like the all-time great he is. The team's been not disrespectful, but not reverent of him the way he should be. He's probably the best player the team's ever had, and it's a storied franchise, maybe other than Jackie Robinson. And other than that, it's like a velocity thing. I really think that plays, the flame gun, plays. He throws 90. He throws 90 to 92. In my opinion, is more impressive at this point. But I think people see that and they're like, oh, he doesn't throw 95 anymore. So he's washed. But it means he's pitching a little bit different because he's going more off a slider. Yeah. He's not good anymore. I don't know.
Also, recency bias plays effect because Kershaw has slipped from what he was, but that means it's impossible not to slip from what he had been doing. And DeGrom's been and it helps that DeGrom's in New York.
Yeah.
So, and DeGrom has been the better pitcher the past 4 or 5 years, but that's no slight to Kershaw because DeGrom has been otherworldly.
Yeah.
So I think that it's the point where Kershaw, everybody just accepts he's good, not as good as he was. They just kind of put that in their mind, and that's suffers from that that thought, I guess. And the Dodgers aren't treating anybody well anymore. So
no, except for Dave Roberts. Oh baby, I can't.
Yeah.
But I do appreciate you. I do appreciate you helping joining team. Let's get Clayton some more recognition. I appreciate it.
Yeah, and folks, I think he sent the text like 2 a.m. So he's up grinding for the pod.
I am up. I'm
Kid
up.
has finals coming up. Hasn't looked at any of them. He's just
No,
grinding for the ball.
no idea
Just
what
for
I got.
the
That's it.
ball. All right. We have a lot of free agent news. I guess I should have probably told everybody in the beginning. This is probably more the free agent podcast or just off-season moves with the winter meetings approaching. Um, I basically had Mets are looking at every single pitcher on the market. We basically covered that: Rodon, Verlander, all the big names. Something that a position that is really kind of weak in the major leagues, the catching position. The A's are close to trading Sean Murphy. To who we don't know. Everybody's saying they're close to being traded. A deal is close, imminent, but they don't know what team. Oh, apparently the Braves are the one team they're not involved. That's the only thing I've seen. Underrated player. Now, unlike Clayton Kershaw, we know why this guy's underrated. He plays with the Oakland A's.
That's right.
Basically a single A team at the moment, playing in a single A stadium. Uh, I really haven't seen him all that much because he's in Oakland, American League. I don't really watch the American League as much. Um, but a solid player, gold glove winner. And in today's standards, a good offensive catcher. Hit you over 250 and get you 60 to 70 RBIs in his past couple of years, and hit some bombs. I don't know how familiar you are with Sean Murphy, but I imagine he would be a important piece to a team that is kind of missing that final puzzle piece.
Yeah, I have been a Sean Murphy hater for a couple years. He kind of shut me up this year. He had a really good year this year. I haven't looked into it. This is something I'm going to look at. Um, little sneak preview. We will be going over our position rankings from last year, taking a look at what our rankings were for real life versus what actually happened, based off WAR or some other metrics. And I think Sean Murphy was top three catcher last year. I really do. Um, I'm not as familiar with him, like you said. I know I was down on him for some reason. I'll have to look at his behind the scene metrics, what he did. But yeah, I mean, the catching market is small right now.
Yeah,
We've talked about there's a lot of people coming up, the Adleys of the world, the Kirks of the world, the Morenos, and there's a couple other catching prospects still to come
Francisco
up.
Alvarez.
Francisco Alvarez, Diego Cartaya, got to throw out the Dodgers one if you're going to throw out the Mets one.
Yeah,
Um, they're coming up, but right now at the major league level, like if you're talking about controlling a pitching staff as well, which is, in my opinion, 80% of the importance of a catcher, not as much the offensive side. Yeah, that's gonna be a big piece for a playoff team that needs catching help.
yeah. Um, yeah, he's probably really one good player that's left on the A's right now who has any kind of trade value.
Yeah,
Um, that was just a report that I had seen. Also, to change gears a little bit, the Hall of Fame, one of the committees announced tonight, so whoever's getting inducted, Fred McGriff is getting inducted from the Contemporary Committee. So not
all
the
right.
regular ballot. They're still going to have that vote. But Fred McGriff, some of the other people on that ballot were all the notable PED guys, Palmero, Bonds, Clemens, along with Don Mattingly, who a lot of people thought was going to get some consideration, Dale Murphy, um, Kurt Schilling. Yeah, there's some other ones in there, but those are the biggest names. So
Yeah,
congratulations to Fred McGriff. Well
yeah.
overdue.
Uh,
But Aaron Judge, basically status quo. But we do have some news. I guess that did we talk about the offer he received from the Yankees for 8 years, 300 million on the
I
last
don't
tip?
think we, I don't think we did. No.
Okay, so that was the most recent offer from the Yankees. Now the reports are saying that whichever team he signs with, it's going to be a 9-year deal. Um, remind you, he's 31 years old. So that is going to be age 40 season of a guy who has been injured quite a bit. Um, he's still going to have his power a long way through. He's not. He's going to be basically a DH probably 2 to 3 years from now. I'd have to imagine. I can't imagine his body holding up well. But I want to ask you a question. I have a lot of
Yeah.
friends who are Yankees fans, and I've been asking them the same question. Are you almost kind of rooting that for Judge to leave? Because if Judge leaves, no, I don't want to say rooting, but I had the same thing with DeGrom leaving. You have a lot of money to spend, and you can spread it amongst the team instead of just on one guy. I think that if Judge leaves the Yankees, it's not the end of the world, and frankly, they could pivot and still have just as good a team as they had this year, next year, if they make the right moves. I don't know how you feel about that.
Sean, my first thought I gotta get out is can't do 9. I
Yeah,
cannot. I can't do it. Like I cannot do it. I'm sorry. Not for a guy that big with that big of injury history. I don't care how many homers you hit in the next couple of years. But as a I mean, Cashman is. I'll never give him any slack, but he's in a tough spot. If he doesn't sign Judge back, it's a bad look for the Yankees. He is the Yankees. If he does, still a bad look because that is a contract that I don't think has the potential to go well. I don't think there's any shot it goes well.
You already have the big contracts of Garrett Cole,
Yeah,
Giancarlo Stanton. You're going to be paying that for a long time. Throw Judge in the mix. It's like the good old Yankees, of
yeah,
old. A-Rod, Sabathia, Teixeira. Like, I mean, it's like time is a flat circle.
yeah. No, it's. But I don't know if I share the sentiment, Sean. I need to be convinced that we would be okay if we didn't
Yeah.
sign him. Um, 'Cause we were not okay if we didn't have him last year.
No.
So
Like, let's
what's
say
your plan forward if you're the Yankees and we're not signing him?
you go after pitching Rodon, maybe Verlander, or both. You
Sorry.
go after Trey Turner. I know that. Or
Come
Xander
on.
Bogaerts.
Yeah, let's get Verlander and Trey Turner, Sean. Oh, come on, man. We're saying good.
Bogarts or Brandon Nimmo, because the Yankees have already met with him. Actually, he's a guy who's, in your words, a baseball player.
I like
Uh,
Brandon Nimmo.
you kind of just lengthen the lineup a little bit. You don't make it as top heavy. You still got Giancarlo Stanton, who, as much as Yankee fans hate him from time to time, can still hit the ball, still driving runs. So he is a force in the lineup. There's a lot of really good shortstops out there. Xander Bogarts, Correa. I know you don't like Correa either. Turner, as I mentioned. Um,
I just hate so many of the free agent shortstops, Sean. I think that's the issue.
I'm
No,
just
but
saying.
I could see bringing in a Bogey and a Nimmo and having that, equal Judge, and we'd be okay. If we brought in Bogey and Nimmo,
And then maybe a
I hear
pitcher.
you. And a pitcher. I don't think you can get Rodon. I don't think you can get all three for the price of Judge, but you can get Bogey, Nimmo. Let's say take Chris Bassett across the bridge. I think that's a hell of a. I rather have those three than Judge. For shizzle,
Yeah.
for shizzle. I don't know the likelihood of grabbing all three though, because I know there's competition for those three as well.
Oh yeah. Yeah. No.
Everybody and their mothers wants Brandon Nimmo, and I don't
Yeah.
blame them.
Yeah. No. And the Yankees, they look at it this way: the Blue Jays are really interested in Nimmo too. So if you were to sign Nimmo, you'd take him away from the Mets and also the Blue Jays. So that would be one less player that you have to face because Brandon Nimmo is a thorn in the side. Even if he gets out, he puts up a fight. He's a really really good leadoff hitter to have and a really good center fielder defensively. Um, so yeah, no, it's just interesting. I think the Giants. Let's go the other way. The Giants signed Judge.
Yeah,
They're gonna suck. Like they're not gonna be good. Like
no,
I think that Judge either way is not gonna be on that much of a winning team. I think if he signs with the Yankees, they'll be better than the Giants would be if he signs with the Giants. The Giants are looking to spend a lot of money, so maybe they can sign Judge and still go after one of the big name guys. But it's an interesting situation. I don't know if I have ever seen a situation like this on all the different fronts, all the different parties involved with this Judge, the Yankees, the Giants.
yeah,
Because we've never really seen a season like what Judge had last year on a contract year after turning down a contract. It's a very unique situation, and I'm interested to see how it plays out.
yeah. I am very interested to see how it play out. As I said from the beginning, I think he's going to San Francisco. I stick by that. I don't think there's a shot he goes to New York. I think it's a personal thing. I just don't think he wants to play in New York.
Like a
I think the
DeGrom situation.
I think the only reason he's went this far is the respect. I think he doesn't like to be in New York. He wants to be away from it, but like he knows. I feel like he feels there's a lot of pressure on him to stay in New York because of what it means to be a Yankee, how much the fans love him, how much he means to the organization. I'm not in Aaron Judge's head. I'm
Yeah.
talking like I am, but that's just the vibe I get in my nuts.
Thank you for including that last part because it just clears it all up for us.
Yeah,
Yeah, no, I'm very interested to see where this goes. Speaking of shortstops, the Phillies are basically they internally is what they're saying. They expect to sign one of the big four shortstops.
yeah,
Most recently, they've been linked to Dansby Swanson. Um, they're gonna get one of them. They want to spend money. Dave Dombrowski is the general manager. He loves to spend money, and they want to build off what they did in the World Series and get back. And they have a scary team, a scary lineup, underperformed in the regular season, and add one of those big marquee shortstops, and they could potentially knock the Braves off for the NL East crown. Um, Especially if they get Dansby Swanson and the Braves don't have a shortstop of that caliber.
Yeah.
Interesting. Another team that is looking at all the shortstops and a lot of other big free agents are the Chicago Cubs. They Dansby Swanson's also linked to them as well. His wife actually plays on a professional soccer team located in Chicago, so that's kind of maybe a tea leaf to follow.
That's the only reason you play for the Cubs these days, Sean, is because your wife plays in Chicago. I'll tell you that.
The
As
Cubs
hard
want to
as it
spend
is.
money,
Yeah.
but they don't want to resign Wilson Contreras. So,
No.
um, and
Good for them.
Contreras is rumored to be linked to the Astros, who really like him. So, goes to the Astros. The rich could get richer,
Yeah.
but kind of interesting. You're seeing a lot last offseason too. You're seeing a lot of teams that are middle of the road, worse than that are spending money,
Yeah.
which I guess was the big knock on free agency the past few years. But I don't know. There's a lot. This is going to be a lot of fun this offseason. There's a lot of big name guys all across the diamond that are free agents.
Yeah. The four shortstop. I feel like this is what the second year in a row we've had a crazy shortstop market.
Yeah. Well, Correa
There's a,
is it back into it? He wanted to do it twice.
right. No, that's fair. It's I don't know. It's going to shake up the league quite a bit. We got you can see the picture. The two best players in New York are on the move, possibly both leaving. You got one of the better players from a powerhouse team on the left, and Trey. Bogart's a long-standing veteran and like probably the best player, in my opinion, other than Devers on the Red Sox. Some people's opinion, he is the best player on the Red Sox. And Correa and Swanson. I mean, that's going to change quite. Like some of the best shortstops in the league are probably going to change teams, which is pretty crazy.
Yeah. Bogarts is still open to go back to the Red Sox too. He wants to stay with Boston. They're just haven't given him a contract that isn't laughable yet.
Yeah,
Which
it's
shows you how
terrible.
much he wants to be there, so that he isn't offended by that offer.
Right.
Uh, yeah, I don't really know where these guys are going to go. Normally, you can kind of pinpoint aside from the Phillies, like we're saying, looking to spend money.
Yeah.
They could really go anywhere, which is exciting. It makes it unique.
It's also scary for the player, I feel like, because I not that there's not a lot of teams out there vying for them, but it's not really clear to them who exactly could best use their services. Because it's not like, okay, well, obvious like other than the Phillies, like Phillies is a shortstop. Who else really needs a star shortstop and is looking to get one? The Brewers just made that trade. They said they're not trading Willie probably. I think they said that. So they want to move, or they were they trading Willie or were they not trading Willie? I don't know what I heard. They just traded for Jesse Winker, which we haven't spoke
Yeah,
about, uh,
yeah.
which was interesting. An
That
interesting,
trade, I had that on the list. I don't know if you want to jump into that.
sure.
Uh, I don't like that trade for the Mariners.
It's a weird trade. It's a weird
I
trade.
Winker had a very down year, but
Winker's better than that. Yeah,
historically he's a solid hitter, and he turned it up as the year went on.
yeah.
Uh, and Toro isn't too shabby either. And Colton Wong is a fine player, but I don't think he's going to move the needle as much as Winker could if Winker has a solid year.
No, Colton Wong is not a good of a hitter as Jesse Winker. I think he'll never be. He never was. He's a defensive specialist that's aging. Yeah, I don't like the move at all. I thought it was weird. I thought it was weird how everyone said Colton Wong was traded, and then like the way it was worded is like Mariners acquire Colton Wong for. I mean, I think the Brewers acquired Jesse Winker for. If you're asking me,
Yeah,
I think Jesse Winker is really the headline of that trade. And like you said, Toro ain't bad. I mean, weird trade,
yeah,
very weird trade.
and yeah, one of those trades where it's small market teams make a trade.
Hmm.
those a lot of times don't make sense immediately, you know,
Right.
because both teams benefit and not throw into the mix. Both teams are contending. So it's
Right.
not like one's bad, one's good. They're both contending. They're both small market, and they both have to watch, what they spend more so than a big market. So those trades a lot of times are just very tactical, I guess you could say.
Right.
They're very calculated and measured. Um, so yeah, that trade didn't make any sense to me, really. It's not like the Teoscar Hernandez trade where it's like the Blue Jays are clearing cap space to sign an outfielder. This
Yeah.
one doesn't have a clear cut, goal, I guess, available to us.
No, because I mean that just means the Mariners probably took themselves out of the shortstop hunt because they want to keep J.P. Crawford at short. There was talks they might move him to second base, sign one of the big four. Now they got called Wong to play second base, unless they're going to bench J.P. Crawford and move him to an outfield spot because he's somewhat athletic, like what they did with D. Gordon. Um, I don't think that's going to work. So I think they're keeping J.P. Crawford. I don't mind J.P. Crawford as my shortstop, but there's four really good shortstops out there, and if you're in the Mariners, you're in that spot where you're a second place team clearly in that division to the team that just won the World Series. I feel like they should have went out and signed a shortstop.
Yeah. I don't know. Speaking of trades, Brian Reynolds just requested a trade for the Pirates.
Yeah,
I don't think he's going to get traded. He has 3 years of control of the Pirates. Apparently, they had offered him the largest contract in Pirates history, and he turned it down. Then proceeded to request a trade after. I don't know. He's a very good player, but I don't think he's going to end up getting traded. The Pirates have no really rush to trade him with 3 years of control, and it might just be a negotiating tactic too. You never know. So
man, I just can't imagine wanting to play in Pittsburgh. I don't think you could pay me enough for this up Ryan Reynolds. I think he's
yeah,
like, man, you can pay me $1 billion. I do not want to. This is a garbage franchise. No
yeah,
offense to Pittsburgh and the fans of it. Offense to the organization, for sure. Fix yourself, please.
yeah.
I hope they trade him for his sake. You haven't really seen this a lot in baseball, where like players
No,
request trades. It was weird to see it come across the bottom screen. Like, and Brian
yeah.
Reynolds, he seems like such a quiet, like humble. You know what I mean? He's not like if Manny Machado requested a trade tomorrow, I think people would like. He's matured, but I mean, like he has like a personality to do something like that. Brian Reynolds
Yeah.
requesting a trade was like, what the fuck is going on right now? Excuse the
It was
language.
like all the big ones, like Ken Rosenthal, Jeff Passan, like it was
Yeah,
every single one of them.
it was pretty weird. I mean, I don't know where he wants to go, but I hope he gets there. Good luck to you.
Yeah,
Safe travels, Brian.
he's got 3 years of control, no trade clause or anything like that. So I don't really know.
I would do it if I'm Pittsburgh. He doesn't want to be there. And
Yeah,
like you said, the positive is 3 years of control to keep him in Pittsburgh. You're not winning in 3 years. I don't
true.
see it there. So
Yeah,
you're probably at the peak value for him right now because of the control. So
they
why
put
not
out a
roll that
statement.
into
They put
what do you
out a
say?
statement. It was like, we are not interested in trading Brian Reynolds. He has 3 years of club control. We look forward to trying to negotiate a contract, like something along those lines. And yeah, that was put out like immediately after the news broke. So
Yeah, I don't know, man. I'd roll it into three or four prospects. You already messed up the whole. You gave away Glass now, and I guess Austin Meadows didn't really end up turning into as much as we thought he was going to. But
yeah, still though. So what we have here is moving down the line here. The Padres have met with Trey Turner twice. It's ironic because I'm pretty sure they drafted Trey Turner
hmm,
years ago. Um, which is odd because he said he wants, or it's rumored that he wants to be on the East Coast, but has met with the Padres twice. Also, how do the Padres have money left? They're a small market team.
I don't
They're gonna
know.
have to pay Juan Soto if they want to keep him. I don't know where they're coming up with this money.
Sean, I said it on the last podcast. I thought they were a big market team because that's the way they're making me feel they are. I think they
Yeah.
are a big market team at this point in time. They identify as a big market team, Sean, and I think it's rude and disrespectful for you to continue to not respect how they identify. Okay,
Okay. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, San Diego Padres. You're a big market team. You're big boys for the time being. Yeah.
their pronouns are big and market. Okay,
Yes. Exactly. Um, Want to hear? I don't know if you saw this, but there's a funny little stat. Zach Eflin signed with the Rays. I
Right.
think it was
I saw
3 years.
40 mil,
Yeah,
right?
like 3 years, 40 million, right?
Yeah.
That's the tied for the biggest contract ever given out by the Tampa Bay Rays
I'm not
franchise.
shocked.
The biggest, or the next two biggest, were all signed in 1997.
What about Kevin Kiermaier? Didn't they give him a boatload?
I don't think. I think that was over. Maybe it's just AAV.
Might
Um,
be AAV. I think they gave
he's gone
Kevin.
now.
I remember when they signed Kevin, I was like, what did we like? They don't sign anybody. They're giving Kevin the house for the Tampa Bay Rays. Um, yeah,
All
get
right.
get Kevin's contract for me. But like, um, I saw that come across the screen. I'm like, 40 million over three for Zach Eflin. First off, if I'm a team, I'm giving Zach Eflin 12 and a half. 12 and a half, 25. You know, was that? I mean, that's close to 40. But the Rays are giving him like almost 15 million a year, Sean, for
I
Zach
know.
Eflin. That's their big guy.
They must
That's
know something we don't.
I'm drafting Zach Eflin next year in fantasy. I'm trying to trade for him immediately if you have him or pick him up off waivers. I mean, they're gonna do something with him, but they shouldn't pay for what they're gonna do to him. I don't know if he's done anything to deserve this much money. I mean, I know the starting pitching market is clearly DeGrom's getting 37 or whatever. It's tough right now.
Um, yes. So in 2017, Kiermaier signed a 6-year, $53 million contract.
That's all it was. I mean, listen, that's a lot for the Rays, but
That is a lot for the Rays. I can't find the other contracts, but they were signed in 1997.
wow.
They have not had a big contract since 1997. Let that sink in. They were the Devil Rays at the time.
Zach Eflin. That's the hill you die on, Tampa?
And it's not like they need pitching.
Sean, it's got to be the most puzzling baseball move I've ever seen in my life.
He's going to win the Cy Young for the next 3 years and then get traded and then suck after that. I mean, it's confirmed.
Yeah. So congratulations, Zach.
Biggest contract in Rays history.
You
So
did what
hopefully,
couldn't be done.
you know what? You're going to have to overpay to get people to come there
Yeah.
to play your games at the Trop. Like that. You want to play your home games on that and that place. They're going to end
I
up.
do not.
They still might split their games between Montreal and Tampa Bay.
That's awful. It's awful.
So maybe Zach Eflin's an idiot. I don't know.
Yeah. I got nothing for you, Sean. I have
Yeah,
nothing for you on the
it
matter.
makes it makes literally zero sense. Um, yeah, that's just wild.
I know.
And also the Dodgers are interested in JD Martinez. In case you didn't know that.
I didn't know that, Sean, and it just upset me. I was already frazzled, Sean, and you just upset me. Why? Why? Don't answer yet. Don't answer yet. Why? Sean, is there a reason? Do you understand? I haven't thought it through yet, so maybe there is a good reason. I just first thoughts, I don't like it.
They're looking for a DH, I think.
So did they put out a statement that said, Justin Turner, I hope your family and yourself burns down in a hole? Is that what they said?
They haven't put out a statement like that. No. Um,
So there goes Justin Turner, is what they said.
Most
Good.
likely. I mean, this is MLB.com, so um,
They need a DH. They need a DH. Okay. All right. Whatever you
also
say.
here's a blast from the past. Michael Conforto.
Is he ever going to play again, Sean?
He's apparently been hitting, and the Mets are actually interested in signing him again.
That would be the team. Is he still
Yeah,
looking for 35 million? He's just still holding out.
I hope not. It'd probably be a 1 year deal. It might
Yeah.
actually be a lot AAV for 1 year, just because it's a 1 year deal.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah,
Boy,
don't.
has he really ruined his career. That is a true Met. I got to tell you,
Yeah,
he
yeah,
deserves to go back. He does. I think that's where he should go.
yeah. No,
I'm
if
sorry.
Nimmo goes, that is a possibility they sign him.
I hope you had to deal with so many years of mediocre Brandon Nimmo where he couldn't play center field to save his goddamn life. And the moment he turns into an amazing fielder, and he's been a good hitter for a couple of years, but he finally does it for a full season without injuries and plays defense, he leaves. I hope the moment you guys develop into a real good player, he leaves. I'm sorry.
I'm trying to stay positive in all this.
I know. Because he was such a bad fielder at first.
Oh, he was god awful.
And he couldn't play, he couldn't stay healthy. We're talking, he puts it all together and gets the hell out of there. I mean, you stand up and tip the cap.
It's kind of like Judge.
Yeah,
Maybe no one wants to play in New York.
I don't blame him. New York's a tough place to play. Not me though, starting pitcher of the Butchers, who by the way, have a championship game on Tuesday, Sean.
Are you going to be present?
I'm not. I'm not. It's a $400 flight back, and I have two finals, so it would be difficult. I
No,
have considered it,
the finals
obviously.
weren't holding you back. It was a $400.
It was a $400 flight. Listen, that's why that came first. But clearly, because it was a $400 flight, I've considered it. I've looked it up. But unfortunately, I won't be there. Matt Zavala will be taking the hill in front of the pod. He's been on the pod before. He'll be taking the hill. So I wish them the best, the very best of luck. They've had an amazing fall season. I believe they went 11-1, Sean. So they are cooking with fire right now. So good luck to them. I think there's a real good shot that we bring home our first championship. Obviously, I'm not thrilled that I won't be there. It hurts, it stings, but I'm happy for them.
Are you the Bryce Harper of the Nationals?
Fuck, that's hurtful, but I might be. We don't know if they win and I go back and we never win again. You'll have your answer. You will
Don't
have
worry,
your
you'll get
answer.
to the championship a couple of years, but not win it.
Right. Thank you, Sean. Listen,
Yeah.
if my career takes Bryce Harper's path, I'd actually be okay. I think next year
MVP.
I'm due to have an MVP year next year. Um, and eventually I'll have one more MVP. Sean, it's not a bad career, and
No,
it's not over yet. Maybe he
no.
finally at the end gets vindicated and wins the World Series. I don't know.
Yeah.
So I'll
I have
take
something
that.
else that'll cheer you up. Apparently, the Yankees are also really interested on Conforto too.
Thanks, Sean. I appreciate that, man.
Imagine him in Yankee Stadium with that child's outfield wall in right field.
He would do well. If he didn't, he would get booed the fuck though. He would get booed so hard.
I mean, he's used to it. The Mets fans hate him.
Yeah.
He got booed all the time. I mean, he's good, but he's just like one of those guys that's good, but like he's like Trey Turner, But he's not
Yeah.
nearly as good as Trey Turner. I
No.
mean, his best year was like he hit like 290, but he's not clutch.
Right.
I think I finally found the Trey Turner of the Mets. He doesn't even play for the Mets, but I think I finally see
Okay.
what you've been talking about.
You just clicked. I
It's
saw
not
something in your
clutch.
eyes. Yeah.
Yes, is not clutch. It clicked.
Yeah.
Strikes out in the biggest moments.
Oh,
Um,
you're talking about Trey Turner, Sean. You're
oh
talking about it.
God.
Does the defense lack in the clutch moments too? Because
No,
Trey's does.
he had some good. He had a couple
Okay.
hoses in the outfield to get runners out at home, so I can't fault him there.
He
Um,
might be your best hitter stat wise through the whole year, but he's the last person you want at the plate in the big moment. That's how I feel
exactly,
about Trey Turner.
exactly.
Yeah.
Michael Conforto.
Some play. Listen, it takes a different player to play well in different situations, and I don't put it on
Yeah.
the player. The manager's got to know that, and we got to make better decisions. That's it.
Back to Brandon Nimmo. He in the postseason, the 3 games, he did very well.
Yeah.
Like he looked good, which will bode well for his contract. Um, I mean, look at George Springer. That's one of the reasons he got a big deal from the Blue Jays. He's a good player, but in the postseason, he is a
Monster.
different animal.
Yeah.
Trash can or not.
Most homers I think ever, right? Or most leadoff homers, one of the two.
Yeah. Bang bang. Now I hope. But
Bang, bang.
yeah, I don't really have too much else to cover tonight. This was probably our most free flowing podcast episode ever.
Yep.
If you guys liked it, let us know. If you hated it, also let us know.
Please do.
Next one will be very I guess,
Structure. Yeah.
yep, that works. Yeah. Um, it'll be a really good one. We'll talk about some free agent signings if they happen, but the majority of the podcast will be dedicated to going over our rankings from last offseason.
Yeah. So get excited for that, get hype. And like Sean said, we'll talk about the free agent signings. If Judge, let's say, were to sign or one or multiple of these shortstops, we might have a we might have to take a halt and go over that. So plans do
Yeah.
change. If you see some big signings this week, know that we will be covering them. So don't worry about that. So come back.
Yeah. May even have a special episode if we need to, you know?
Yeah, we might even do a second episode if need be. So you don't worry about that. We'll have you covered with all the news going forward. But we will see you next week on the 10th inning podcast, Shawnee. I apologize. I apologize. I cut it too quick. One card. We got to do a card. All right, pick a card, any card. Sean, I really feel like I got to start switching the box because I feel like we're gonna get the same card one of these times.
Up.
Once we do, I'll switch the box. Sean, I got two cards. This card, Will Cordero. Have we done Will?
Let me look him up. That name sounds very familiar.
Sounds familiar to me as well. Will, it looks like he's only got one L in his name, though, Sean. So be careful with that. I believe Will Myers is the same, is he not?
Yeah.
Yeah. Have we done Will Cordero? Is the
You
question.
want to know something?
I would like to know.
We haven't done him, but I have a story about this guy.
Is this why am I involved here? Is this why he's familiar?
No, you are
Okay.
not involved.
All right.
I worked with a guy this summer who's lives in Florida. Was a coach of Parkland High School baseball. You know, where Anthony Rizzo went and had the
Yeah.
unfortunate incident a few years ago. But he's friends with a lot of ex major leaguers. Will Cordero was his assistant coach and also coached some high schools down there, and is good friends with one of my coworkers. So that is where I know Will Cordero from. I don't know him personally, but he was telling me that he's good friends with Will Cordero. Um, so that's a pretty random how that came into play. I knew I heard his name before. Yeah.
And what is Will doing now?
He's like a high school baseball coach.
Why do I know Will Cordero though? Did he do anything special in his career, Sean?
Let me see here.
I just
I don't think so. He had a pretty. I mean, he played for 14 years. Career
okay.
273 hitter. He wasn't much of a pop guy, but he did have 68 RBIs one year, which was quite a bit. Stole not that many bases. I think he was
When did he finish? 2005. I mean,
2005 with the Nationals.
but he's barely playing. Last year, I would even know him. 2003. I'm not knowing about Will Cordero. 2003.
Yeah,
Sean, why do I know about Will Cordero? Is it
I don't
just the
know.
last name Cordero? Is there another Cordero that I'm knowing about?
Isn't it like Frenchie Cordero or something?
There's a Frenchie Cordero. Maybe it may be the Frenchie, Sean. It might be Frenchie.
Somehow, every card we get, I have like a little story about. You know,
And that's the magic of it. That's why you pick it.
this guy, my coworker, was friends with him. He doesn't know English that well still. He helps him do his taxes. I remember that.
Your friend or
Well,
Will?
he's not my friend. He's my coworker. I'm not a huge fan.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Sean.
But you know what? That was extreme. He's a nice guy.
Friend
He
of
can
the
talk
pod?
you. He can talk your ear off.
Okay.
He talks about himself all the time, and he knows everybody. Oh yeah, me and my best friend Anthony Rizzo. Um, frankly, he's the one who told me he's gonna be top 10 first baseman this year. I don't know.
Bring him on the pod, Sean. Bring him on the pod.
Yeah, he's actually a native Long Islander too. He doesn't live there anymore, but
Okay. Represent.
yeah,
Represent. Good for him.
yeah, yeah. Will Cordero. Maybe he doesn't even do his taxes. I don't want to put the false stuff. He helps
Yeah,
him.
let,
He helps
let's
him
not
sell.
have the IRS coming at Will Cordero because they watched our episode, Sean. Let's not fuck his life up right now. Okay. Will Cordero does his taxes. All right, I'm gonna put it out there right now. He does his taxes. Okay, Sean. What are we doing? What did Will Cordero do for you to come out and just say he's committing tax fraud to the entire
No,
world?
no, 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 no. I'm saying he helps him do his taxes. Nothing wrong with that.
Oh, you're saying he didn't do? I thought you were saying Will Cordero doesn't do his taxes.
No, no, no. He helps him do the taxes.
Oh, because you said, I don't think he does his taxes. Maybe.
No, he helps
You
him.
know,
But I don't even know if that's true.
okay. Thank you guys for tuning into the 10th Inning Podcast. We will see you next week. No one's defected. Everyone does their taxes. Go to sleep.